Hey y'all, this is 290, and for today, I'm not reviewing my own deck list for my deck profile, but I'm reviewing my friend Dred's here, and this is for, what deck is this, by the way?
Herald of Perfection. It went top 8 on Yugioh Day. Again, shout outs to all those who went to Yugioh Day that Saturday, January 25th. You know, Cyber Dragon tokens and Cyber Dragon mats were awesome. Zane Truesdale, woo woo! Anyway, you know, happy Herald, top 8. Or no, perfect Herald, I'm sorry.
Alright, so, well, let's see what you have in your deck list on the decks.
Without further ado, but first I'd like to give a shout out, say thank you to my friend for using his YouTube channel to showcase my deck. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Alright. Herald of Perfection. Main ingredients of the deck, you know what I'm saying? You just set that guy in defense mode. Very good this format. Solemn Judgment, since it was gone, you know, just been a very good use for fairies.
And now fairies are coming back, by the way.
Gikitano Mogami, that's your ritual fodder. You know, very good. Master Hyperion, people still fear this thing. You know, banish the agent from the hand, the field, the graveyard. Yeah.
Very useful card.
Archlord Christia, special summon that with Perfection alongside of it. Can cause so many locks, lots of players shut down, prevent special summoning, very good anti-meta tool.
And a lot of people still fear that card too.
To have this, go pluses for days. You know, I go upstart, you get 1,000, I get a bunch of fairies. Seems fair, right? Agent of Miracles, Jupiter, Big Beater, transmodifiable. I know a lot of people like to run 3 Venus, but I feel like 2 Venus in this deck was appropriate because I didn't have the 3rd Venus as well, but also it just allowed me to have more space for other things. So good. Even though they're normal monsters, so good. Ritual fodder for Venus, just so good.
And those 3 mystical sign balls too, very useful.
I have my Earth. You could probably only run 2 and still do a similar result. I just like having an extra tuner in the deck, just giving more synergy. This right here is the engine of the deck. Manju, you know, it allows you to search. People will save their Veilers for these things. That and Christias or Hyperion, so mainly for these. Search out Ritual Spell, search out Perfection, Light type Fairy, can be transmodified, very useful. If you have the money, I recommend Gel and Duo. If not, don't stress. Marshmallow's there. You don't have to worry about guys like a Cowboy ruining your day or Bottomless Trap Hole. You just set that face down. You give your opponent 1,000 points of damage to worry about. Main source of negation, Herald of Orange Light. If you can, run 3. 2 still work for me. That's self-explanatory.
One honest.
These 2 are really good, normal ritual fodders. At first, I was only thinking of running of 1, but with running both, it gave me more flexibility. You know, instead of deciding to defend or to attack, I have both, because if I draw 1 and draw an advanced ritual, I can still go with that. An absolute must. I strongly recommend running 2 to 3, but 1 worked for me because I had a budget and skill, a little bit of luck.
Now, what does Transmodify do?
Thank you. Transmodify, what it does is that this, you can send 1 face-up monster you control to the graveyard. So you special summon from your deck 1 monster with the same type and attribute as that monster. For example, I play an Earth, and I decide to transmodify it. I can go into Marshmallow. I can go into Venus. You know, it sends it off. I can go into something 1 level higher. So that's a very good card just to look out for.
So it's a big plus pretty much, that's what I see.
Preparation rites. With this, you add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. It has to be level 7 or lower, and then you may add a ritual spell from the graveyard to the hand. You don't have to use a second effect, but it's very good whenever your Manju gets Veiler, whenever you have a ritual spell card that's been negated or just been destroyed as a bluff. Preparation is such a huge plus these days. And I definitely recommend running at least two of them. Again, same with Transmodify for the budget, just one, and it worked for me, but definitely running 2 or 3 of those will help. Your bread and butter for perfection, the ritual arts, your advanced ritual art, just send monsters from the deck to the graveyard, so good. Dawn of the Herald, you send that, you banish it, you get a fairy back to the hand after you ritual summon perfection for extra negation. Upstart, prime key of the deck, then your other draw cards. This one saved me a lot in particular, just because I could have no cards on the field in just one day and just say, okay, give me what you got, you know. Or if a monster gets destroyed, I still don't take damage. Malate, it can save me too, give me many draws.
And combo that with Tevis, it makes it a more big plus.
Alright, here's my side deck. Sky Surge. Shuts down prophecies. If spell books annoy you, if spell heavy decks annoy you, this is the card for you. You tribute a light fairy type monster, negates all spells. Field, graveyard, affects all spell cards, negated. Still a good side, very consistent. It stopped a lot of searches from happening. I can negate a special summon. You know, it's still just all around good side. You can run these or Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I just went with these because if they run an all dark deck and they draw all dark monsters, they're kind of stuck for a while. Consecrated Light stops a lot of decks cold in their tracks. It's one of the continuous cards I can lay back here for perfection. You know, just have perfection in the front, Kaiser Coliseum in the back. It can really mess with the opponent's head if they can't get around it. Deck Lockdown. This card saved me so many times that day. Prevented searches. Monsters can't be special summoned from the deck. It's just a really good alternative to Thunder King Ryo in terms of that searching ability. Extra spell and trap coverage. It stops a lot of good decks in the graveyard. It can range from anything from Bujins to Fire Kings to Mermails. You can kind of slow them down. Had I faced Bujins or Fire Fist, this would have came in handy. I still tried to use it against Prophecies, but he MST'd me or Spellbook of Wisdom me. And, you know, that's kind of the reason why this may lose out to Mistake, but don't underestimate it. And then, core side deck is right here. Then use Emptiness, shuts down Mermails and other decks among others. And Royal Decree shuts down decks that use a bunch of trap cards.
Now what about your extra deck?
Here it comes. Really good card, and recently it's gone down in price. Really good budget option these days for Synchro deck. It used to be about $15, $20, now it's about $10, depending on where you go. Still a very good option. You can also use Angel Zera, Gigantic Castle, but Mistworm just has that playability. You have that option. It feels really good. My opinion, staple synchros. Crimson Blader shuts down level 5 or higher decks temporarily, or sometimes for game. Scrap Dragon, it's just such a good utility card. You can set up a dead ritual card, pop that, or pop an extra monster that's Fiendish Chained for games. You can go into Black Rose and nuke the field, which is always helpful if your opponent goes first and sets up too much for you. I'd recommend something such as a Vulcan or otherwise, you know. But Sahi Myth is still good. Get your DD Warrior Lady off. It's a good level 6 to go into, just to put fairies in the grave for Christian.
Now what did that card do?
It's essentially a DD Warrior Lady, and for those of you that don't know DD Warrior Lady, after damage calculation, when this card battles an opponent's monster, whether it attacks or whether it is being attacked, you can banish both monsters. The attack, you know, both monsters involved in the battle.
Okay.
Allied Justice Catastor. This and or Armades is a must for this deck just because Catastor has utility. Armades is also a light monster you can chain Honest to and your opponent can't do anything with. So if you have both, you can and should run both, but at least run just Catastor. So useful. Now for the Xyz. You have number 40. I strongly recommend a Felgrand or a Heretic Overlord Sun Dragon if you have it. This was just there for me at the time, as a beat stick, really. Yeah, but definitely run Felgrand or Heretic Overlord Dragon.
Now let me ask you real quick. Now what does Felgrand do that makes it actually essential to that deck?
For Felgrand, first of all, it's a light type monster. 2 level 8s. You detach one during either player's turn. His effect is negated, but he's unaffected by other card effects until the end of the turn. And you can use this during either player's turn. Next up is Omega. Such a good save. It's like a Forbidden Lance on itself. You can also just like exceed into it with Gachi Gachi. Becomes a massive 28 beat stick. Also, he's a light type monster. If I were running M7, which you should in this deck consider running M7, you could realize his true potential just by bringing it out just like that. But really, all around a good light exceed. Very Cheer Girl, in case you run out of drop options, you have her as well. Level 3 Exceeds, Equipped Engineer, so good in this deck. It's a fairy, it can save me, I can be more reckless with some of my monsters if I need to be more aggressive. Then I can just detach and switch my monsters to the defense with Engineer. Some of you may be wanting to use them mains, that's totally fine, but I just love the play style that Engineer gives me, the versatility to do so much. Tempo, really good for Evil Swarm matchups and other Exceed matchups that might prevent you from doing certain things. Just detach the units, especially on Ophion. You detach it on the Ophion to make it from 1 to 0. It frees you up a lot. Fortune Tune, at first people are thinking, run something else, but when you look at it, it's a light monster. You can set it in defense mode. It can't be targeted by card effects, so you have to go through it by battle or by mass card effects like Dark Hole, Torrential, and it's a very good recycler too. And then here are my rank 2s. Gachi Gachi, the go-to, like one of the core foundations of the Ixie deck. Herald of Pure Light. It would be a Daigusto Phoenix more than likely, but it has proven its use by getting back additional fairies to the hand, such as Christia, or Perfection, or Hyperion. It has saved me on some occasions. And Dark Mist is just there, just for an optional power boost, in case I need to really get over something.
Dark Mist has always been useful in the past, and it still is.
Well, that's all for my deck. I'd just like to shout out thank you to my friend for using his YouTube channel to showcase my deck. And you all, if you want to build Herald of Perfection, there's so many ways to go. Just there to offer another option, and you can do it out there. So stay strong, fellow duelists.
Alright, that's it. That's my friend Dreads and his Herald Perfection deck, and see you guys next time.